The government is under increasing pressure to explain how and why a boatload of foreign nationals was able to reach the Australian mainland earlier this week. Joining me now is Nationals MP Keith Pitt. Keith, thanks so much for your time. This happened earlier this week. We've only just learned about it via Matt Cunningham. And this boat was able to reach the mainland in the Kimberleys. This is pretty extraordinary, isn't it?
Oh, well, it's significantly concerning, Laura. And anyone that knows political history and the history of our country, very unfortunately, knows that a trickle of illegal arrivals in terms of boats under federal Labor government eventually turns into a flood. So there's been 10 boats since last May 2022. And the message has got to be sent. It's got to be sent very clearly by Clare O'Neil and Prime Minister Albanese. Don't do this. The most likely outcome is you'll lose your life. That's what will happen for people trying to arrive illegally in this country. So I'm very concerned, and we should be seeing more from the leadership of this nation right now.
Yeah, but it was your government who started the we don't comment on water matters, and this government has seen fit to carry that through. The difference now is, do you accept that Labor does support boat turnbacks, which is a really important part of the solution?
The difference, Laura, is that we stopped the boats. We actually cleared detention centres, got thousands of people, including children, out of them. And now we're seeing this start to kick up because simply Labor is just not strong enough on our borders. They're not strong enough on national security. Where is the Minister? Where is Clare O'Neil? Where is the Prime Minister? Why aren't they sending that very clear and public message to people smugglers? It's what they should be doing. It's what the Australian people expect. It's certainly what I expect. We're just not seeing it.
We learned earlier this week on a completely separate issue that the Australian government has also granted almost 900 visas to Palestinians, most of them trapped in Gaza. Does this have bipartisan support?
Oh, well, that's a question for the Leader of the Opposition and the Shadow Minister.
What do you think?
I mean, we made changes. Well, what I think is under the Abbott government, we certainly made changes for Syrian refugees. It's a decision for the government, and they should be working closely with us, and I'd expect that they would be. But we want to be very, very careful. This is clearly an area of conflict. There is some positive news being discussed today about release of hostages, but why not all of the hostages, Laura? We all want to see a cease in hostilities because that is a far more positive outcome. But what do people expect will happen? You can't just go and murder over 1,000 of someone's citizens and expect that there'll be no outcome and no further action. Imagine what the Australian people would say to us in this situation, Laura. They would want us to get our citizens back and do everything we can for their loved ones. So this is it's a terrible position that they find themselves in right now. But there is some positive light of what's been reported today and by you and others.
Well, let's quickly talk about climate, because there's a number of things happening at the moment. Chris Bowen is headed to an important summit. He's going to be talking up renewables. But we've also seen accusations in New South Wales that the police minister actually kind of incited or encouraged protesters to block, fossil fuels. What do you think of that? Well, this is
the Minister for Police. Really encouraging people to get in their kayak and jump in front of a coal carrier. They're not jumping in front of a marshmallow. I mean, to actually support this type of activity, I think it's bad for their reputation. It's a bad look for the police minister. And I think all of the coal workers in the Hunter, they might want to send a message to the Minister for Police, show her the exit, because this is how we pay for things in this country. Export of resources. The coal sector is really important, particularly in the Hunter. And the idea that you'll be encouraging protesters to block that port in a way which is incredibly dangerous, I just think that that's just delusional, Laura.
Well, what are you worried about? What did she say that bothers you so much? Are you saying it's a sackable offence?
Well, I think there's questions that should be asked. That is up to the Premier of New South Wales. But as the police minister, to be out encouraging this type of activity, we know it's dangerous, whether you are chaining yourself to railway lines, whether you're jumping on moving trains, or whether you're paddling a kayak in front of a very, very large boat that simply can't stop. You're not jumping in front of marshmallows. This is quite serious. No one should be supporting that type of activity. We all support people's rights to protest, but they should do it in a way which is safe.